returned to Melilla in Sweden for round 7 of the SGP series, a place where championship leader Jason Kramp has made every final of the 4 previous Scandinavian GPs held here. He won back in 2005, but since then it's his fellow compatriot who sat on the #1 perch at the G&B Arena. Lee Adams has been the man to beat for the last 2 years and is desperate to make it 3 wins in a row in a bid to salvage his season. But both Australians know repeat success is going to be a tall order in 2009, as for 4 of their rivals, this is their home Swedish track. A point also noted by Greg Hancock, whose record in Melilla is one he'd like us to brush aside. The 39-year-old has never lifted a winner's trophy in Sweden. It's a different matter, though, in Latvia, where the American added another piece of silverware to his collection. Greg lined up next to Kenneth Bier, Thomas Golub and Kramp, who on a dismal night's performance just squeezed into the final blue slot. Jason couldn't make it out the start, leaving Hancock, followed by Bier, to steam out of the gate like an express train and head for glory at the Locomotive Stadium in Daugavpils. With first and second class positions sold out, all that was left for Mr. Kramp was a seat in third. But a mistake on lap 3 let that man from Bydgoszcz, Thomas de Poel, roll up the inside and take the main line to the podium, leaving the championship leader in the sidings. For the 1997 world champion, though, it was celebration time. Winner of the Latvian GP for the second time in 4 years.
What can I say?
It's the 10th time Hancock has sprayed the champagne as victor in his SGP career. The oldest man in the field has ridden in all 117 Grand Prix, but he's still hungry for more success. The Grin's first win for 2009 proves there's still a sparkle in those old blue eyes. He backed 20 points on the night, which sees him overtake Emil Sayfutdinov for second spot in the standings. The Russian underperformed in Daugavpils, taking only 10 points. Golub remains in 4th, but it's Kramp who remains top of the heap with 108 points with 5 rounds to go.
Pretty good, but the last Grand Prix obviously wasn't what I was looking for. I mean, I ended up scraping a final. I don't really know how, but you know, kind of final or no final, there wasn't enough points on the night. So you know, I need to get that right and make sure that I'm still putting enough points next to my name at the end of every race. A couple of tough meetings ahead of us, and you know, hopefully I can stay in that position. Just build points all the time, and that's the aim of the game. We're not quite sure what the weather can turn out to be like here, but it is a great track to race on, and hopefully I don't have to race too hard. Hopefully I can make some starts.
Greg Hancock's fast gating has been the key to his newfound form and hopes it will continue as he heads to his adopted home of Sweden. There's nothing like a win to motivate you, but 29 points adrift of Kramp, does he believe he can catch Jason in the chase for the title?
I'm an optimist, and I believe that I can be the world champion. So I can't ever say that I'm going to lose sight of Jason, and I'm fighting for every point that I can. But you know, everybody knows that he's the man on the mission. He's the man that's everyone's trying to beat. So it's not going to be easy. But like I said, there's still a long way to go. The thing is, I haven't had a very good result here in the Grand Prix ever. So for me, it's this is a turning point. I'm determined to make it my night and you know, come out on top.
Andreas Jonsson hopes it'll be his night too, but by the looks of things, he's had a few late ones, courtesy of his child's first birthday. He's also been suffering from a bad back, which he sustained just before the Latvian GP. Although the night started off well, the injury caught up with him, and he only scored 6 points. He makes a return fully fit and raring to go in front of his home fans.
A lot of pressure, definitely, you know. So it's going to be good. I've been racing a lot on this track for a few years. I've been here 5 years, but the track always is completely different, prepared on the Grand Prix, so I have to come here with an open mind to see it and to set up the bikes and that. I had a few meetings this week as well to come back to feel the bike and that without any problems with the back, no pain, anything, so I feel really good. It's really nice to ride in front of the home fans and that, but a lot of pressure as well, just need to handle it good.
Under pressure too is fellow Swede Freddie Lindgren, who also rides for the Dakar Club in Melilla and will want to do well for the fans. He too scored a disappointing 6 in Latvia after making the podium in round 5. The story of his season, bust after boom.
It's tough for sure for the confidence, but you know, you want to try and keep more consistent, and that's been my problem this year. It's been very much up and down in a roller coaster season. I think it's due to inexperience maybe a little bit, and you get a little bit intense and nervous before the big meetings as a Grand Prix, and also it's a lot tougher to race in the Grand Prix than it is to race in the regular league racing. Me now in Melilla, I'm feeling good, and I want to give them something back because they're all gonna cheer for us Swedes here, and hopefully me the most. But I'll see. I'm gonna give it my 100% and we see what happens.
A massive crowd turned out for the Scandinavian Grand Prix, and the biggest cheer was for the Dakar boys, and also for the return of Nicky Pedersen. Melilla is situated in rural Sweden, and thousands of fans travel here just for the GP. This being the countryside, the weather always plays its part. And yet again, it didn't let us down. A downpour just before the start left our riders to contend with a rain-sodden track. But as umbrellas went up, thankfully so did the tapes. And Antonio Lindback made a great start in the opening race. He was closely followed by Melilla favourite Freddie Lindgren. Scott Nichols in third place, but problems for Rune Holter. Lindback went on to secure a fine victory. Fans enjoyed it, but Scott Nichols' reaction summed up the conditions. Heat number 2 and Greg Hancock in the yellow helmet got all in a twist early on. This allowed Great Britain star Chris Harris to take up the running, and it was a battle with Emil Sayfutdinov up top. Trailing in at the back, Sebastian Ulemek, who had problems later on in the race, but Chris Harris took 3 vital points. Time for a scrub down for Greg Hancock. Heat 3 saw the welcome return to the Grand Prix for Nicky Pedersen, the reigning world champion in the blue helmet colour, but he was squeezed out at the start by home favourite Andreas Jonsson in the red helmet. He also missed out to Gregor Valacek in white. AJ went on to secure the victory, to give the fans something to cheer about. Another home favourite, Hans Andersen, was out in the next one, in the blue helmet colour. In-form Pole Thomas Gollum made a dream start to lead all the way from start to finish. Home favourite Kenneth Bier had a battle with his Dakar teammate Hans Andersen for second spot, but Jason Crump, the series leader, wasn't out of contention at the back. He may have been showered in shale, but he managed to get the better of Andersen for third spot. Gollum went on to complete a comfortable victory, laying down a marker to his rivals. But for Jason Crump, it was a mud beard after a bit of muck spreading. Crump was out again in the next one, and he made no mistake from the start off the favourable inside gate position. Chris Harris of Great Britain was the rider in white. After starting with a victory, he had to settle for 2 points this time around. There was another breakdown, this time for Gregor Valacek, possibly something to do with the damp conditions. Crump took victory in fine style to stay on course for yet another semi-final appearance. Hans Andersen up against Andreas Jonsson. Once again, 2 Dakar riders head-to-head in heat number 6, and this time Andersen made no mistake. Jonsson had to work hard to battle clear of Scott Nichols. Home fans understandably delighted. That man Pedersen was out again in heat 7 in the red helmet colour, and it was a battle with Thomas Gollum, the in-form man. Pedersen's back though, and how. A wonderful ride to see off Gollum, and Emil Sayfutdinov battled away in third place. That's more like it for Nicky. Disappointment for Freddie Lindgren. That's what happens when you trail in last. Looking to score some important points in white was Lee Adams in heat number 8. But gate number 3 was a difficult position. Kenneth Bier, though, making a superb swoop around the outside from gate number 4 to throw the form book upside down. Rune Holter was in second place, but Bier was far too fast for his rivals, and Adams ended up at the back. The first race win outside of gate number 1 in 8 outings. The weather definitely playing its part. Thomas Gollum sharing the lead with 3 other riders, but lower down the order some big names. Greg Hancock, winner in Latvia, with just 2 points so far. And Lee Adams yet to score, but with a win to his name, Chris Harris.
Brilliant start, 2 reasonable starts, so if I can keep it up for the rest of the night.
We talked earlier about being relaxed. I mean, do you guys really think about tonight, or do you just have to switch on to racing and go with whatever's there?
And you've got to think about it a little bit, obviously with the conditions, how they are, but took a bit of pressure off everybody, I think, because it's different from practice, so everybody's out there trying to find something that's working, and at the moment it seems to be working.
Well, gate number 2 wasn't working for Kenneth Bier in the blue helmet, and neither was gate 4 for Nicky Pedersen. Sebastian Ulemek took full advantage of that favoured inside gate position to go on and win heat number 9. Disappointment for Kenneth Bier, who failed to finish the race in the blue helmet colour. A breakdown and a bust-up for the Dane. Great Britain's Scott Nichols was the rider off gate 4 in the yellow helmet colour, and again it proved difficult to get away. Chris Harris, his fellow countryman, was relegated to third in a bad race for the Brit boys. Thomas Golub battled through into second, but it was an important victory for Lee Adams, giving himself some hope of reaching the semi-finals. Pressure was on Greg Hancock in heat number 11, particularly against two Dakar riders, Lindgren in white and Anderson in yellow. Hancock responded with the favoured inside gate position, and it was Lindgren who got the better of his Swedish League teammate. Yet another breakdown for Gregor Valacek. With Greg Hancock on 5 points, he revived his hopes for the night.
Yeah, so far, you know, I mean, coming off those outside gates early on was a little bit difficult, but you know, I mean, it's the same for everybody, and you just got to try to make the most out of what you can, you know.
Yeah, the weather has really decimated the meeting so far, Kel.
Yeah, very difficult conditions, particularly coming from the outside. Shame, because it's such a good track.
Restart of heat number 12 after Jonsson got a flyer. Jason Crump off the inside in red. Rune Holter, gate 2 in blue. Andreas Jonsson going off gate 3 in white. Emil Sayfudinov going off the outside. Will it be a clean getaway this time around? Heat number 12 it is. The bikes roar and the tape dries, and it looked like a good one from Holter, but Crump gets to that first turn, and a fine move from Sayfudinov. But look at Jonsson now. Where did he find that from? He charged down the back straight and got maximum pace from that engine. Now Sayfudinov in a real battle with Jason Crump, and oh, that was very tight.
Yeah, brilliant lap there. Sayfudinov charging really hard, and he's got through into second place. Crump slammed the dog shut down the back straight. He let him know all about that. Brilliant first corner from Andreas Jonsson. Coming from the outside there, not many riders have been able to do that. He's winding it on out in front. Chased hard by the World Championship leader, Crump.
Yep, Jonsson looking smooth and stylish, and good to see him back to full fitness, of course, after his back problems recently. He's looking very comfortable on the bike, despite the conditions out there. Jason Crump in second place. Emil Sayfudinov is third. Rune Holter was in contention early on, but he's trailing at the back now. And Andreas Jonsson is going to take the checkered flag here on his own track, Melilla. And the home fans, understandably, delighted with that.
Brilliant ride there from Andreas Jonsson. Won his debut Grand Prix, of course, here in 2006. That was superb.
Here's a result then of Heat 12. Jonsson, the race winner. Second place there went to Jason Crump, the World Championship leader. Emil Sayfudinov in third place after a real battle with Crump. And Rune Holter relegated to the back. Jonsson, a happy man, looking much more comfortable on the bike now.
Yeah, strong start to tonight's meeting. 8 out of 9 points. No injury concerns for him.
Jonsson's second win of the night takes him to the top of the leaderboard on 8 points, with Golub on 7, Pedersen, Crump and Harris on 6, Pierre, Hancock and Lindback on 5. The home riders, Anderson and Lindgren, only on 4. With Sayfudinov, Lee Adams will feel better after that win.
Lee, it's fair to say you needed that heat win.
Oh, big time, mate. You know, a couple of outside gates to start with. It was pretty tough work out there, but as everyone can see, the inside's working really good. You had to make the most of it. You know, I've got a couple of gate blues now, so hopefully we can get a few points, get to that semi, mate. There's a couple of racing lines developing, you know, so that's good. It's just drying out every time we go out, so it can only get better.
Emil Sayfudinov is out in the next race. He's feeling the pressure now.
Indeed he is. Certainly it's tough out there, and the GP Series is tough for him right now.
Jason Crump feeling a lot happier, cleaning his goggles, and Nicky Pedersen's race jacket getting cleaned down as well as the riders prepare for action. But we wonder, will the Dane, the reigning world champion, be number 1 tonight? Welcome back to the FIM Nordic Bet Scandinavian Grand Prix in Melilla, Sweden. And we're up to heat number 13. This is the stage of the meeting where every rider will go into his 4th outing of the night. And conditions heavy, it's fair to say, as we look at the heat 13. And Emil Sayfudinov is the rider off the inside, a breath of fresh air in the Grand Prix series this year. Gate 2 in blue is Lee Adams, needing a big ride here. Local rider Hans Andersen, a Melilla favourite, goes off gate 3 in white, and Antonio Lindback goes off the outside in yellow. A big race then, heat number 13, preparing for action, and you see the steam on Sayfudinov's goggles. Visibility is going to be tricky here. Heat 13 it is, and it's a great start from Lindback off the outside in yellow. What a ride from Antonio Lindback is being chased hard now by Saifuddinov. Lee Adams is third, and Hans Andersen trailing at the back now.
Yeah, brilliant stuff there from Lindback from the outside. Rarity to see that from the outside. Saifuddinov, though, pushing hard there up the inside. The two youngsters down the back straight, neck and neck, into the third corner. Oh, Saifuddinov gets it all wrong. Clips the back of Lindback and bites the dust.
Well, Lindback looks back as if to say, what on earth happened there? Saifuddinov knows that he could be in trouble here in heat number 13. It could be a disqualification for him.
Well, he's just gone in there. Lindback squeezes him up down the back straight, doesn't ride to the fence, rides down the middle of the track. He's aware that the young Russian's coming, and he just runs in there a little bit too hot. The bike then spits him over the high side, just clipping the back of Lindback, and down he goes. No surprise to see the red exclusion light on there. It was his own fault, no doubt about it.
Conditions played the part, that's for sure. He's unlucky to an extent, but he does put it on the line, Saifuddinov, and here we see a perfect angle of the accident. Conditions playing their part, clipping the back wheel, and that could have resulted in a very nasty injury for Saifuddinov, but he looks okay.
Yeah, he's a youngster, he bounces, so he's fortunate there, but certainly it could have been a collarbone job. Disappointment in the camp, started so brightly this year.
3 riders only then for the restart of heat number 13. Lee Adams needing a big ride in blue, Andersen in white, Lindback in yellow. Lindback's got to do it all again from the outside, and typically, as often happens, he's relegated to third, and Andersen coming through now.
Oh.
And now watch out for Lindback, because he charges down the back straight, tries to get up the inside of Adams. He's coming on strong to try and challenge Andersen here. Some race developing.
Brilliant stuff there. You've got to feel for Lee Adams. Made a great start, but found himself beaten up at the end of the first lap with Hans Andersen initially up the inside, and then Lindback roaring around the outside. Lee Adams was desperate for points to build on his win last time out, but Hans Andersen, the local favourite, powering away out in front.
Yes, Andersen using all his home track knowledge here. 4 points before this race, and a big win here would move him on to 7 and give him a great opportunity to challenge for a semi-final spot. Andersen looking comfortable. Lindback second, impressing as a wild card again tonight. Lee Adams trailing in third. That's going to be a big blow for him. He is going to need a minor miracle in the last ride to get through to the semi-finals, but Hans Andersen pulls off the victory, and as often happens in a restart, the finishing order is completely different to that of the original staging of the race. Andersen takes the checkered flag. 3 big points for him. Antonio Lindback was second, Lee Adams was third, and of course Emil Saifuddinov was disqualified from the restart of heat 13. A big win for that man.
Indeed it was. Second win of the night after a disappointing start. He'll be delighted with that, particularly here in Melilla. Disappointment though for Lee Adams, has found conditions very difficult. After that win last time out, he needed more than a third.
Heat 14 then, Scott Nichols goes off the inside in red, gate 2 in blue. Jason Crump looking to extend his lead in the championship tonight. Greg Hancock, who's never won a Grand Prix in Sweden, he goes off gate 3. And that man back in business tonight, Nicky Pedersen, after that terrible leg injury sustained in the World Cup, and recently crowned Danish champion for the 6th time. And what a start from Crump. Majestic from the World Championship leader, looking absolutely superb. Nichols second at the moment. Hancock's going to put Scott Nichols under pressure though, and sweeps around the outside. Nicky Pedersen uncharacteristically at the back. Jason Crump controlling the race, and it's a real battle between Nichols and Hancock.
There is, and Scott Nichols at this stage is battling hard, but it looks like Greg Hancock's just going to stamp his authority on that second place. Yes, now he makes that his. Superb start from Jason Crump away from gate 2, is powering away out in front. Nichols now hanging on the 3rd place, and disappointingly for the world champion Pedersen, tailed off out the back, but Jason Crump looking very impressive.
Yes, looking to make progress through to the semi-finals yet again, Jason Crump, who really is unstoppable in the Grand Prix this year. It's been a fairy tale year for him. Changed his racing schedule, and it's worked to a T. Absolutely superb. And Jason Crump moves forward with another big win, moves him on to 9 points, and he's virtually guaranteed a place in the semi-final. Consistency the key in the Grand Prix series, and Crump has easily been the most consistent rider of all this season. That's why he's on top. Hancock 2nd place there. 3rd went to Scotty Nichols, and trailing in at the back there was was the reigning champion, Nicky Pedersen.
Oh, terrific stuff from Jason Crump there. Brilliant start from gate 2. Never easy here, particularly in these conditions, but an electric performance from him there. And certainly we see it again. Scott Nicholls lifts too hard, and that opens the door for Crump. Crump then powers into that first corner and makes it stick. Comes under no real pressure whatsoever. Early doors, there's a good scrap for second place between Nicholls and Greg Hancock. Hancock finally making it stick, working hard around the outside. We see it now with Nicholls, but Hancock just gets his wheels in line and finally makes it stick. He has to work hard, and he'll be delighted because he is desperate for points. But Crump out in front, very strong.
Good Speedway race there as we look at the leaderboard. Crump goes on top on 9, but Jonsson's got a race in hand on 8. Anderson on 7 with Gollop, Hancock and Lindback now.
Jason, 9 points with 1 to go, but it's still a tough night for everyone.
Oh man, it's really tough. It's muddy. It's, you know, everybody's covered, and very hard night. But so far we've got a few points, so it's okay.
It just seems to be in the last few races that you can look at different lines if you can get out there and get some speed up.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's starting to dry out a bit on the outside, so hopefully there's enough races left for it to come good.
Heat number 15 it is then. Kenneth Pierre, who's in a rich vein of form in the GP Series, had a good World Cup as well. He's off the inside in red. Fredrik Lindgren, a local favourite off gate 2 in blue. Also a Malilla favourite, Andreas Jonsson, gate 3 in white. And Chris Harris going off the outside. Heat number 15 it is then. Big race for all these riders. We're approaching the business end of the meeting now with qualification points up for grabs. And Lindgren makes a decent start in blue. Look at the rider in yellow, Chris Harris, really getting in the mix here. And Kenneth Pierre has that lead. And Pierre, as we said at the top of the race, in a fine run of form in the GP Series. But Lindgren's working hard now. And he's going to really squeeze the pressure on Pierre as he dives up the inside.
Yeah, good move there from Lindgren, but look at the speed from Kenneth Pierre once again. Brilliant out in front. He's been under all sorts of pressure. Now Jonsson getting amongst the act and has relegated Chris Harris to the back. And these 3 home riders are now first, second and third. Terrific competition between them. Jonsson riding a stormer there to get into second place. He was nowhere on the opening lap. Kenneth Pierre, look out. Jonsson's chasing.
And the home fans understandably delighted with the way this race is going. Pierre has that lead, and when he's up front, he's one of the hardest riders to pass in World Speedway, the stylish, tiny Danish star. And he is going to romp to 3 important points with Andreas Jonsson battling through into second. Lindgren will be disappointed to only get a point there after being so much in contention early on. Pierre the winner, Jonsson was second. Lindgren, as I say, getting 3rd place and just the point. And Chris Harris, who made a reasonable opening to that race, failed to score.
Great way to respond there for Kenneth Pierre, because he packed up in his last one, came out on his spare bike here, and certainly does the business, using the advantage from the inside. But look how close it is coming off that first corner. He could very well have been swamped down that back straight, but the bike had the speed to hang him out in front, and he picks up a terrific win. Super stuff there from Andreas Jonsson, surging from the back to get through to second place. 2 points, very useful for him. But Kenneth Pierre moving on to 8 points. He'll be chuffed with that.
And after a good start, a blow to Chris Harris there.
Chris, a really tough last heat.
Yeah, didn't really make a run off 4, and sort of got in traffic, and that shell hits you, it stops you, so it was a tough heat.
You're going to have to sit and watch now to heat 20, but you're in gate 1 in that one, so you're going to know what you need to do.
Yeah, the good thing about it, obviously being the last heat of them, is I can know what if I need a win or a last or second or third, so we're left to see how it goes when we get there.
Well, the action hotting up nicely now, and Andreas Jonsson tops the leaderboard ahead of Jason Crump. Kenneth Pierre with 8 points after that last race, and a clutch of riders on 7 points. Chris Harris there, just outside the top 8 now. Heat number 16, and it was a classic Thomas Gollop move around the outside in the yellow helmet colour. Look at the drive he got down that back straight to get the better of his fellow countryman Sebastian Ulemek, delighting the travelling Polish fans in Malilla. And that victory took him straight to the top of the leaderboard, level with Jonsson on 10 points apiece, 1 ahead of the series leader Jason Crump. Local favourite Jonsson out next, and the pressure mounting on the Latvian winner, Greg Hancock. Welcome back to the FIM Nordic Bet Scandinavian Grand Prix from Malilla in Sweden. And heat number 17, a massive lineup at a very, very important stage of the meeting. As we see Antonio Lindback, the wild card, who's had another good night as a wild card in the GP tonight. He goes off the inside in red. And Greg Hancock, 7 points so far, needs to score here to get into the semi-finals. Thomas Gollop goes off gate 3 in white. And Andreas Jonsson on 10 points, the same as Gollop. He goes off the outside.
Yeah, the two boys on the outside are going great guns. Pedersen there, disappointed last time out. He'll need big points in his last ride. But Gollop really has found the key to this track. Greg Hancock, you're right, the pressure's on.
Heat 17 it is then, and it was a nice start from Lindback on the inside, a jet-propelled getaway. Hancock needs points here, dives up the inside, but he's in serious danger of being overhauled here. Watch Gollop go! What a ride from Thomas Gollop, and Hancock comes up the inside. Where on earth did he find that from? It looked like he was going to be relegated to the back at one stage.
Brilliant stuff from Thomas Gollop. Classic Gollop. Round the outside once again. Really has found the key to track conditions. Is powering away out front. Lindback on his second bite now. Gets himself into second place. Greg Hancock really could do with more than a point. Surprisingly for me, Andreas Jonsson tailed off out the back, but Gollop majestic out in front.
Yes, Hancock is still under severe pressure. No guarantee of going through. He really could do with chasing down Lindback, but in the meantime, he's being chased hard by Andreas Jonsson, who's already assured of a place in the semi-finals. The smooth style of Thomas Gollop up front, a magnificent performance from him. Lindback second, Hancock third. That may not be enough for the 1997 world champion, but Gollop is in majestic form here tonight. Magnificent there, big victory for Thomas Gollop. Antonio Lindback was second. Third place, Greg Hancock, and he faces a nervous wait now with Andreas Jonsson trailing in at the back of Heat 17.
Great stuff from Thomas Gollop there. You see Hancock so desperate to get away, but it's Lindback that fires himself to the front initially from the inside. The inside has worked so good for so long tonight, but look at Gollop. Every bit the master around the outside, winding along. The throttle wide open as he came into turn 3, onto 13 points. What a night of Speedway he's having.
Absolutely, and you wouldn't bet against him winning this meeting tonight the way it's going, because he is really in fine form. Has only dropped 2 points from his 5 rides and is the clear leader now. 3 ahead of Andreas Jonsson. And Greg Hancock currently in the top 8, but faces a nervous wait now to see if he will make it into the semi-finals. Heat number 18, Kenneth Pierre in a good run of form in the series and doing well here tonight. He's on 8 points, could do with scoring here. Vanacek goes off the inside in red, gate 2 in blue. Scotty Nichols, a disappointing GP year for him. Emil Sayfutdinov goes off gate 3 in white. And Kenneth Pierre going off the outside in yellow, and it looks like he may well be missing out on a semi-final spot.
Yeah, I don't think he can quite make it, even with a win here. It's been a tough night for Sayfutdinov. Vanacek sometimes can be a surprise.
Certainly can, and he's made a good one off the inside. Nichols working hard. Sayfutdinov comes up the inside, and Pierre relegated to the back. But now down the back straight, Pierre will make up ground. The lead is with Gregor Vanacek in red. Second place, Sayfutdinov in white. Nichols coming hard around the outside. Fine ride from Nichols here.
It is, and that was a battling ride from the Brit there to get himself into second spot. All of a sudden, these two boys out in front with the pressure off are riding a stormer. Vanacek's done nothing all night, and all of a sudden, he's fired himself to the front. Scott Nichols charging hard. Sayfutdinov once again getting his nose in there. Oh, nearly runs in the side of Nichols.
Yeah, brilliant Speedway here in Heat 18. It looks like it's going to be the first GP of the year. Oh, Sayfutdinov has not won a race, and a real battle up front. Nichols and Vanacek trading positions here. Vanacek has the drive in the dirt. Nichols comes hard up the inside. It's some Speedway race, this one. Vanacek has the lead. Nichols will hold the inside line, but Vanacek's steady enough. Nichols second, and Sayfutdinov's night is over. Fails to win a race for the first time this season in the GP. And, well, I'm sure he'll all put it down to a learning curve as Vanacek wins heat number 18. Second place was Scotty Nichols. Third was Emil Sayfutdinov. And trailing in at the back was Kenneth Pierre in heat number 18.
Yeah, and that's quite significant. He finishes on 8 points, but he has, all importantly, he's had 2 wins, and that could well just get him into the semis. Great stuff from Vanacek. He moves up that bank and blocks the move from Nichols around the outside. Sayfutdinov there charging hard, and it was a really good battle there initially from Scott Nichols. Nichols does actually get his nose in front here, but just can't resist the move back from Vanacek, who straightens that up and squares it off and fires himself back into the lead. Super Speedway, unfortunately, these boys, it's all over for them, and disappointment for Saifudanov.
Well, first major disappointment of the year, really, for that young man who has been a magnificent addition to the Grand Prix series, without any shadow of a doubt. Golub leading on 13 with Jonsson on 10, then Crump on 9 with Lindback on 9. They're in the semi-final. One man who won't make the semi-final, though, is Lee Adams, disappointingly on 4 points.
Scott Nicholls only 5 points on the night, but probably your best performance of the year.
Yeah, that's the way it goes, isn't it? You know, I rode as hard as I could, you know, and sometimes you get a little bit unlucky with gate positions and one thing or another, but, you know, it's the same for everybody. I did the best I could, and want to ride like I know I can. I want to score the points I know I can and the points I deserve, you know. So it's been a real tough season, and, you know, I've held my head up, and it's been hard at times, but, you know, I've kept plugging away, and obviously also thanks to the people that have stuck by me and supported me through it all, you know, my sponsors and friends and family, because without them it's even harder. So yeah, you know, it's been tough, but we just keep smiling away and rolling on.
Heat number 19, and a very, very important race for the home favourite, Fredrik Lindgren. Off the inside in red, only 5 points so far. Needs a victory here to put him in the shake-up for the semi-finals. Lee Adams goes off gate number 2 in blue. Jason Crump, 9 points so far off gate 3, and Sebastian Ulemek on 5 points so far, the same as Lindgren. He goes off the outside in yellow, no doubt about where the noise will be coming from in support of the man off the inside, Freddie Lindgren. In the red helmet colour, the bikes roar, and it's a good start from Lindgren. He couldn't have asked for a better start. It's up to him now to hold that line. Crump goes close to the back wheel. He hangs on to second place. Third is Lee Adams in blue. Trailing at the back now is Sebastian Ulemek, and Adams having to go up the inside on Crump. But this will be a vital victory for Freddie Lindgren if he hangs on.
Yeah, brilliant first corner there from Freddie Lindgren. Didn't go too wide and just caught that little bit of grip coming off the corner. Adams out of shape there. Nearly runs in the side of Jason Crump. Has to come out of the throttle, and Crump is able to then once again get himself in the second spot. Lindgren needs to hang on here. This will move him on to 8 points, level with Hancock with 1 win. There'll be some count back going on here for certain, but the home favourite is out in front, just about hanging on.
Well, Jason Crump continuing his consistency here. He's only failed to score in 2 Grand Prix races so far this series. Absolutely magnificent. He's under a bit of pressure here, though, in heat number 19 from Lee Adams, his fellow countryman, but not for much longer. And Lindgren, a big, big win for him, and a home fans respond. Look what it means to them. And Lindgren knows that he will be in the semi-finals now after a magnificent ride in heat 19. Just when the pressure was on, he delivered the goods. Jason Crump moves on to 11 points. Third there was Lee Adams, whose night is over on 5, and Seb Ulemek also finishes on 5 points.
Yeah, terrific stuff from Freddie Lindgren under immense pressure. Makes that inside gate work. We know that the inside gate's working brilliantly tonight, but you still got to drop the clutch. He rides a smart first corner, covering the move from the championship leader Crump. Adams and Crump very close down this back straight during the race. It looked like Adams was going to be able to get up the inside and there and snatch that second place away from Crump, but couldn't manage to do it. But the delight, the reaction from the home fans, not much of a reaction from him, but he's still got to wait, you know, Nige, because it's so tight with so many riders on 8 points.
Yeah, he's in a reasonable position, though, Freddie Lindgren, with that victory now. Lee Adams knows it's not his night, and, well, he'll be heading for the showers very shortly with 5 points to his name. Here's the leaderboard, and it's very, very tight. Look at that clutch of riders on 8 points, desperately hoping that they will make the semi-finals here. Pierre and Lindgren have got wins to their name, of course. Pierre with 2 wins, and Lindgren has got a couple of second places, and that could be important in the countback. Heat number 20 then, the final race of the qualifying heats here in Melilla, and what a meeting it's developed into. Chris Harris goes off the inside in the red helmet colour. Gate 2 in blue, Melilla favourite Hans Andersen. Gate 3 in white, 6 points so far for the world champion Nicky Pedersen. Needs a win here, Rune Holter going off the outside. Chris Harris's pit crew watching on. This is a big race. Heat number 20. Here we go. And it was a good start from Andersen. But what about Harris in the red helmet here? He's made a decent start off the inside. Andersen is all over him. Nicky Pedersen is third, with Rune Holter closer at the back, and this would leave Pedersen on just 7 points.
Oh.
And Anderson almost doing a bit of grass tracking there.
Oh, he really is working that inside line, getting his front wheel right up over the curb. He's working it really hard. There's a little bit of extra grip down there, and he's trying to get his back tyre on there to fire himself into the lead. Nicky Pedersen in third place. That is not good enough. He's going to go out of the Grand Prix at this stage. Harris out in front, hanging on. Now Anderson up the inside. Brilliant stuff from Anderson. Now Harris winning it on. Superb Speedway out in front.
What a race this is. They're wheel to wheel, Anderson and Harris. They're not giving an inch here, and Anderson has passed him. The referees really got to keep a close eye on this. You're only allowed one wheel over the white line, and as you can see, they're complying at the moment. Anderson on his way to a magnificent victory. What a race that was! Speedway out of the top draw, despite the conditions. That was great Speedway.
Fabulous ride from Hans Anderson, muscled his way into the lead, past Harris.
Yeah, win for Anderson then. Second place was Chris Harris of Great Britain. Third there went to Nicky Pedersen, whose night is over. And trailing in at the back, Rune Holter. Terrific Speedway in heat number 20. This Speedway Grand Prix has really come alive.
Smashing start initially from Chris Harris from the inside. Ted there, his team mechanic, riding every moment with him, urging him on. Hans Anderson, look at that reaction from him, turning back up the inside, really determined to get amongst the points. Pedersen struggling back in third place, just not good enough. But out in front, these two boys really went at it, hammer and tongs. Hans Anderson working that inside line and finally snatches that win away from Chris Harris.
Chris Harris happy with the fact that he will be in the semi-finals. He knows he's done enough there in the 20 races to reach the top 8. And Hancock misses out on the countback system. Golub, Crump, Anderson, Jonsson, Lindback, Pierre, Lindgren and Harris, they are the semi-finalists. And former world champions Hancock and Pedersen miss out. So does Seyfriedinoff. And that man knows it's looking good once again to extend his world championship lead. And if you don't get first pick in the semi-finals, which one would you go for, I wonder?
Yeah, the pressure will be on then. The inside's been brilliant all night because of the conditions, but certainly a big decision regarding the semi-finals for the outside starts.
Jonsson gets gate number 2 then, and gate 3 for Kenneth Pierre with Freddie Lindgren going off the outside. No surprise with Jason Crump going off the inside. Hans Anderson, gate 2 for the second semi-final. Lindback going off the outside, and Chris Harris goes for gate number 3. Will Thomas Golub make it count, and will Jason Crump reach his 7th successive Grand Prix final? Welcome back to the FIM Nordic Bet Scandinavian Grand Prix from Malilla in Sweden. It's hotting up nicely, the action is fast and furious, and we're into the first semi-final. And what a lineup it is. 3 Malilla riders on home territory. Golub the odd man out, but that won't worry him. He goes off the inside, which has been the favoured gate position all night. In the red helmet colour. Gate 2 in blue is Andreas Jonsson. Gate 3 in white is Kenneth Pierre. And going off the outside in yellow is Fredrik Lindgren. This is the first semi-final, the first 2, straight through to the grand final. Here we go. Golub off the inside. Will he make it count? It hasn't quite made the start, but he makes it up going into turn 1. It looked as though Jonsson had got there, and now he has. Second place, he's just got the better of Lindgren and Pierre. The lead is with Golub. Lindgren up the inside.
What a move from Lindgren that is, and that sport the run from Jonsson. Jonsson's gone from second to the back, and now Kenneth Pierre fires himself into second place. Lindgren's move there really shuffled the pack up big time, but out in front, the master, brilliant start away from the inside and first corner to cover the moves. Golub looking set for the final.
Yeah, superb stuff from Thomas Golub, who is in with a real chance again of finishing on the World Championship rostrum this year. There's a battle at the back. Remember, every point counts as Jonsson works hard here to try and get the better of Fredrik Lindgren. Kenneth Pierre in second spot, looking set for a place in the final once again. Lindgren goes high and wide and into the dirt and has lost that third place, but then regains it. What a battle for third place, just for a point. Golub Crump's on his way to the final. Great ride from the pole. Pierre is second, and Lindgren just about manages to hang on for third in a fascinating battle there in that first semi-final. Who can stop Thomas Gollop tonight? Magnificent ride. Victory off the inside gate. Second place, Kenneth Pierre through to the final. And third place, Freddie Lindgren after a battle against that man, Andreas Jonsson. Terrific Speedway again, mainly just for a point of third.
Yeah, the two Swedes out the back battling for that third place, but Thomas Gollop brilliant away from the inside, and crucially he doesn't make a mistake in the first corner, doesn't go too wide mid-track and then chops back to the inside, gets his wheels in line and powers down that back straight. Jonsson initially up into second place, and then Lindgren storms the party going into turn 3 and really mixing it up. What a first corner that is from Gollop. Superb out of the top jaw, but watch this move from Lindgren right up the inside, kills the momentum of Jonsson and allows Kenneth Pierre to roar around the outside and still second place away from the two homeboys. Certainly that is a bit of disappointment for them, but that man tonight really in top class form.
Plenty of talk that he has no plans to retire whatsoever. There's even speculation that Gollop may carry on for another 5 years, and that would be tremendous. And, well, long may he continue in this form. Second semi-final, Chris Harris of Great Britain then looking for a big result here, but Jason Crump is the man off the inside, the World Championship leader, and set to extend his advantage in the World Championship tonight. Crump going off the inside in red. Hans Andersen goes off gate 2 in blue. Chris Harris, gate 3 in white. And Antonio Lindbach going off the outside in the yellow helmet colour. Melilla favourite Hans Andersen going off gate 2 then. Jason Crump, a model of consistency, of course, in the GP series. That's why he's top of the leaderboard. Second semi-final, here we go. Good start from Crump. Absolute textbook on the inside. Now comes Harris through into second place. What can the Swede Lindbach do? Well, he's blocked out there by Andersen. It was all very close. How did they avoid each other?
Incredible stuff down the back straight on the opening lap. Now Harris gets himself back into third place, but there was 3 of them going for one spot there, and Andersen literally stole it away from the other 2 boys out in front. Super stuff from Jason Crump. Textbook start in first corner. He's into the final for sure. Hans Andersen into second place, and Lindbach now roaring around the outside. Has had a pretty good night once again as a wild card, but Jason Crump can't stop him.
Certainly can't. Once again, that battle for third place is superb. Full credit to Lindbach, who really is now trying to close the gap on Hans Andersen. Will the outside line work for Lindbach? Has he got the drivers? Andersen squares up down the back straight. Lindbach is getting very, very close. Top 2 into the semi-finals. Crump is there, and Andersen gets there. He knew he was under pressure late on, and that was once again great Speedway in this Grand Prix. And Jason Crump is heading for the final yet again. Here's the result. Crump takes victory in that second semi-final. Hans Andersen hangs on for second place under pressure from the wild card, Antonio Lindbach. Great night for him. And trailing into the back that time was Chris Harris, who was in contention early on.
Super stuff from Jason Crump here. Makes a sensational start away from the inside. Look at that terrific reaction. Chris Harris there in third place at this stage. His top man Ted there urging him on around that first corner. Andersen then down the back straight. Surges underneath Harris into second place. Lindbach battling hard. Just look at that, biting his nails there, the top man. We see it again. The tapes are up. Jason Crump makes a superb start initially. Just clouts Hans Andersen and pushes him out the way. That allows Harris up the inside in the second spot, but then they replay the compliment down the back straight and surges back into second place. Crump's out in front. He's got this race wrapped up really early doors. Superb ride from Jason Crump moving into the final.
Certainly is. Jason Crump, majestic.
Chris Harris, a battling performance for 8 points tonight.
Yeah, it was a hard night, but pleased I got to the semi, but just unfortunately I failed in the semi. But, you know, it's a step in the right direction.
Well, a step in the right direction for Thomas Gollop is picking the inside gate with Jason Crump going alongside him in gate 2. Hans Andersen off gate 3 and Kenneth Pierre going off the outside. The grand final of what has been a very, very enjoyable FIM Nordic Bet Scandinavian Grand Prix here in Melilla. Who will come out on top? Thomas Gollop's got to be the favourite off gate 1, but don't back against Jason Crump, the series leader. Gollop then off the inside. Jason Crump going off gate number 2 in blue. Gate 3 in white, Hans Andersen. And off the outside in yellow, Kenneth Bier. And it really is amazing to think that, of course, this time last year, Jason Crump was really wondering whether he could still do it at this level, and now is on the verge of being crowned world champion for a 3rd time. The grand final, can anybody stop Gollop off the inside? He hits that first turn ahead of the rest. Jason Crump in 2nd place, coming around the outside. In the white helmet colour is Hans Andersen, and Bier dives up the inside, but Thomas Gollop looking superb. Remember, points count for double in the grand final, and Gollop is looking set fair here. He has the lead, and surely nobody can stop him from here.
Brilliant stuff from Thomas Gollop, took full advantage of the inside gate. Not accustomed to coming from the inside, of course, he loves the outside traditionally. Good stuff there going on for 2nd place. Hans Andersen surging into 3rd place initially, is now putting pressure on Jason Crump in 2nd place. This will do, Crump. There's no doubt about it. Another 4 points in the bag for his World Championship course. He'll be delighted if things stay the way they are. But out in front, Gollop, after winning that World Cup final race, has absolutely been inspired since then.
You're quite right about Jason Crump. Another 4 points in the bag here. He's still trying to make it 6. But Thomas Gollop, absolutely brilliant. Jason Crump working hard late on. But it's Thomas Gollop who takes victory in Melilla. A magnificent performance from the Pole, who is in a great run of form. World Cup winner with Poland and winner of the FIM Nordic Bet Scandinavian Grand Prix at the end of another memorable night of racing in the Grand Prix series. Thomas Gollop, a worthy winner. Absolutely brilliant. 2nd place, Jason Crump, another massive step towards his world title. Hans Andersen was 3rd for 2 points, and trailing in at the back there was the Dane, Kenneth Bier. The celebrations will go long into the night for Thomas Gollop.
Brilliant stuff from Gollop. He's been the form-man all night, so consistent, hardly dropping a point throughout tonight's meeting. Away from the inside, textbook first corner. Crump then charging into 2nd place. Crump tries everything he knows. He tries that high, wide line, but just not quite enough momentum to get himself to the front. Away from the tapes again, Gollop drops that clutch, absolutely spot on. Gets himself to the first corner. Andersen round the outside, Crump up in the inside. Bier initially getting himself into 3rd place, but can't hang on. Look at Crump, how hard he was trying. Look at the team there celebrating. They know it's in the bag. Gollop salutes the crowd. Superb effort from Thomas Gollop, and a good one from Crump.
No better sight in World Speedway than Thomas Gollop in full flight. And that's what he's been tonight. In tip-top form, Thomas Gollop.
Hans, 3 great GPs in a row, your 2nd final of the year.
Yeah, I'm just happy I had banked a lot of points, and I really wanted to win this for all the fans. You know, this is like my 2nd home, and thanks to all them, I got to the final. I'm happy overall. It was a good performance, and the final I nearly had it, but they're 2 tough cookies out in front, and 3rd is all right. Get on the rostrum, it's better than nothing.
Jason Crump, can't win them all, but 7 finals out of 7 is a pretty good way to start this year.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Obviously tonight with the weather and everything else, it made it difficult in the early part of the meeting, but came good. Kind of came a bit better in the 2nd part for me, and the situation I'm in right now, it's all about getting the points next to my name, and tonight's done no harm at all.
Thomas, your first GP win of the year.
Yeah, the win, the first this year. I like a lucky day for me. And dzień dobry and siema, people.
Again, you're another rider that rides in Sweden. You ride at Västervik, 40 kilometres odd down the road. I mean, great support tonight for the riders.
Yeah, and Västervik last Tuesday in 70 points is a good race for me, good position and form. And today this the same result in the win, and very happy.
Well, what a great run of form Thomas Gollop is on, a worthy winner, and that puts him into 2nd place in the World Championship behind Jason Crump, who's got a commanding lead right now and surely won't let that slip. But what about the top 8? Hans Andersen moves in there right now. It's all about automatic qualification for next season, and Nicky Pedersen is just outside, as is Lee Adams. Will Pedersen regain his form in the next round, round 8, the Dansk Metal Nordic Grand Prix in Vojens? But Thomas Gollop is the man of the moment in the Speedway World.